one of the first things I want to share is when you add the same sign, simply combine those numbers and keep that original sign. So positive 2 plus positive 3 is 5, in the same way as negative 2 plus negative 3 is negative 5. We kept the sign that we had to start with. And that basically summarizes rules 1 and 2. The next summary I want to share with you is when you are adding different signs. First thing you're going to want to do is find the difference between the numbers, just the basic numbers themselves. You've heard me say, find the difference, subtract the two numbers, things like that. The second thing is you assign the sign of the number with a bigger absolute value. And to best understand the absolute value, that's the distance that number lives from 0. So the number that lives furthest from 0 dictates what the sign will be. So negative 6 combined with a 2. First step, find the difference between just the numbers. So the difference between 6 and 2 is 4. Agreed? And the one with the larger absolute value is 6. 6 is for the negative 6. The negative 6 is further away from 0 than the positive 2. Therefore, the sign stays negative. Whereas, say the same exact problem, only flipping the signs. The difference between 6 and 2 is 4, and 6 has the larger absolute value, so the sign obviously stays positive. That is rules 3 and 4. So if this is rule 1 and 2, this is rule 3 and 4 in combined terms. The last rule, adding opposites always will equal 0. Adding opposites always will equal 0. Negative 6 and a positive 6 is 0. Okay, I can do that with every number under the sun. 12 plus negative 12 equals 0. Okay? 12 plus negative 12 is equal to 0. This comes in handy, by the way, if you have like a big long list of something like negative 12 plus 18 plus 12. Okay? You might go, 6, okay, positive 6 is 18, right? You might have performed all that work. But if you had recognized that these two items were opposites anyway, you could have just right away gone to the fact that these two added together equaled 0. So having said that, you're done. It's really quick and easy, and you don't have to put anything in your calculator. You know, calculators are handy, but nothing beats the human mind for dissecting rules that can help you put less stuff into your calculator. Okay, that's the point. Now, my example 1, I'm just going to go through a few of these with you, and I'll give you the rest of the time. It shouldn't take us too much longer. My example 1 looks like this. And in the book, it might write them stacked, or it might write them from right to left. It doesn't make a lick of difference. There's a couple different ways to do it. You can just start working it from left to right. Okay, you can just start chugging everything into your calculator. Add that to that, add that to that, add that to that. But I recommend you actually trying to do some of this in your head and seeing if you can't make it happen more quickly. The way I would do it is first I would combine like signs. You know how we combine like terms when there's variables and numbers? Well, I would combine like signs. If you combine all your positives, you end up with 30, right? So that's 30. And if you combine your negatives, you end up with a negative 34. It's pretty quick and easy to see that the result is going to be a negative 4, and I did all that probably more quickly than you would have typed it in your calculator. Okay, so do not hesitate to do this. In your book, they show you solution 1, and then they show you solution 2. I always will try solution 2 because that also allows me to search for opposites if there's anything that can cancel. It just makes things a whole lot more quick, a whole lot quicker anyway. And they may group stuff together to make you think that you have different things that you have to do. We can practice a couple of those. I'm going to go ahead and flip my page. Example 2. So these are mine, by the way. If you see negative 7 added to a 3, added to negative 4 and negative 2, most of you are right away going to say, well, the order of operations states that you have to do things in parentheses first. While that is true for mixed operations, if everything is addition, then the order which everything gets added in is irrelevant anyway. So you can do it that way. You can say, okay, this is a negative 4, and this is a negative 6, which is a negative 10. You can do it that way. You can follow that. But you could have also maneuvered stuff around. And I mean, it really doesn't matter in this one. If you did all your negatives, combined all those, which again, you can do that because it's all addition, you would have had a negative 13 added to that positive number, and you still would have had a negative 10. So whichever way you work it, as long as it's all addition, you can mix it around, whether they put in parentheses to trick you up or not. Here's the last example, too, I want to do with you. There's parentheses thrown in there, folks, but does it matter? Does these parentheses matter? Why or why not? No, because it's all addition. Good. Let's combine all of our variables first, since we can only combine like with like. What is the result of combining those two variables? 0. Positive 3 and negative 3. So 0. No x. And you don't have to write that. I'm only writing it just to show it to you. The numbers, what's the result? Positive or negative? Negative 20. Okay, I would not write that. I would simply write the answer is negative 20. Do not tell me 0x. You don't need to tell me what there's 0 of, because there's 0 of an infinite number of things in the universe. this last sample that I just did for you applies to 23, 25, 27, and 29. So that's what this one here will be helpful with.